I am done living for the perpetrators, feeling responsibility for the crimes of others. I'm taking my first breath after a life long smothered, and I'm rebranding me. The subject of the following video touches on domestic violence and abuse. Please, if this does not suit your mental health right now, feel free to move on. Take care of you first. And if you are at all touched by this, if you're going through this, please seek the help of a qualified medical provider. Yeah, the title's right. But before you click off, just let me explain myself. I used to have a hard time remembering certain things that happened in my past abuse, all the different things that happened because of my family, it happened because of so-called friends. All the million and one things that happened, I forgot probably 3/4 of them, or I had misplaced memories. With those misplaced memories, I had terrible guilt because I remembered things in the way that people wanted me to remember, and I will explain that in a minute. And I lived with that guilt up until very, very recently, like within the past year was the time when I started to talk about that guilt and let it not be my prisoner. Going all the way back to when I was a child, it's funny what people tell you and how they behave around you that makes you feel as if you are in their control without you knowing. For instance, I was not allowed to play outside. I was not allowed to walk home by myself. It had to be with my grandmother, and then even as I got older, there were certain people that were definitely keeping an eye on me. I had a book. First of all, let me go back a little further. I started primary school when I was 2. Really. I was writing and talking and doing all the things when I was 2 years old. The teachers were really enthusiastic by me. They would teach me things like drawing and teach me the piano. At school, when everyone was learning their times tables and things, I was also in that at that age. And children liked playing with me because I was the cutest and the tiniest and everything. And I was probably what they called in that day precocious. My mom used to send us as a family these huge boxes that would come by boat that would have all sorts of things in them. There would be a lot of things for me to play with and to use and to learn and stuff, but my grandmother was very meticulous in not having me go into the box and look at things. One thing a month possibly, when there were so many things, but that's besides the point. I would take that exercise book and I would write a lot of stuff in it. And I would hide that exercise book in that box, thinking that no one would find it because the box was huge. People didn't go in it. Often it then had a cover over the box, and then things were put on top of the box. So surely no one would find that exercise book. In that exercise book was written all the things that happened with me, to me, things that I didn't understand. I didn't understand how my body responded. I didn't understand the thoughts I had. And I was way younger than 10. All the times that one person would touch me incorrectly. All the times that Other people would allow me to see things that I should not have been guided to see. All those things I would write in the book. And one day the book disappeared. I never knew who found the book, but I assumed my grandmother found the book. And she never told me that she found it. I assumed it was her because I didn't think my grandfather would go looking for something like that. And in any case, even if he found something like that, I would get the beating out of my life, which I used to get just about every day. There wasn't a few days that passed when I did not get scarring and then afterwards be lathered in calamine lotion so that my skin could be bright and shiny the next day. So that didn't happen. But that book disappeared. And from that time, I lived in shame. I lived in the fact that I was horrible. And as time went on, those memories got further and further back in the annals of my mind because of how I perceived them. I thought that everything was my fault. And of course, everything was not. I was a child. And even so, even if I was an older child, it wasn't my fault. Even if I was an adult, it wasn't my fault. It wasn't. I thank Jay for today a year ago. I use the word thank loosely. And as I sit here and I think about that time, I feel inside me shudder because it's still hard for me to talk about. I have specific therapy for it now, which I'm very thankful for. But I thank him and that situation because I would not have gone through the therapy that I had gone through, and certain memories would not have been triggered for me to actually remember what I went through. There are things that I had never said here. There are things that I had never admitted to anyone. But there are things that should not have been done to me. You see, life is very funny. Sometimes people are very intelligent and they use that as a guise to do horrible things. They may not even be aware of the fact that they're doing things that they should not be doing. It may just be inside of them because they're too brilliant to notice that, I guess. My grandmother was very smart. She studied until my age or a little older. She kept on studying and studying, and she was a nurse and she was a sister, and you know, she was very intelligent. She was very good at math, and I pride myself on getting that, passing that down to my kids, thankfully. But when she passed and I grew older and I finally, especially in this last year, dealing with my shame, I realized that she was a very sick person. I mean, my grandfather was also sick. Quite a few people were also sick. But she I loved Granny. I told Granny, when you get old, I would take care of you, and I did. I even took care of her and my grandfather when they were sick, ever so often with diabetes and hypertension, even though they did the things that they did. Because I thought the things that I got were normal. The constant pummeling anywhere to put me into a fit of, I can't get out of my box, I can't get out of the corner. Because I literally was in a corner, by the way. Being afraid to breathe because everything was my fault. Then I get the beatings. Being on the end of finger pointing, the end of gossip as a child. Being told about how fat I was. I mean, I'm fat now. I'm the biggest I have ever been in my entire life, including when I was pregnant. Ta-da! And when I look back, I was a normal, whatever that is, but I was fine. In some cases, I was just too small. But that's besides the point. The point is that my grandmother introduced me to my abuse. The reason why last year jolted that memory, I think, is because Jay was a person that I trusted and I became comfortable around, be able to sit down and talk with, even discuss the Bible and things. Was a person I thought I would be protected by. They even called me their best friend. And then, of course, they R-worded me in my own place of comfort and sanctuary, which is exactly what my grandmother did to me. Yeah, I didn't say the wrong thing. That's what she did to me. It is only after figuring out, and I'm going to go into a whole other little sidetrack thing now. People talk about children from certain eras, from a certain era, probably my era, or no, possibly a little before. Not children, but young people maybe went through enemas. When I looked back, I did some research on this, and there's some people that hated it. There's some people that say they liked it and they wish they could have it again, and I don't even understand that. I had a lot of things done to me that didn't need to happen. And how? And the amount of times. Just like last year, in a sense. Not the amount of times, but shouldn't have happened. That is how last year ended up helping me, Jay. That's the only thing, the only way. It helped me to lay the blame elsewhere other than me. It helped me to lay the blame at some place other than the vehicles used, like rubber hose is too big for me. The blame lies with the person who does the things. The blame lies with the person who fools and manipulates children so that they will be shielded against any finger pointing. The blame lies with people who know what is going on and they do nothing. The blame lies not with me. I lived a lifetime being called the nickname that I've been called all my life. There's some people that call me by my actual name, but 99% of the people that I know call me by that name because I was told that name over and over and over and over again. I was called that. If I heard it in a particular way, and then right after hearing thump, 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 and whatever, that would traumatize me. I heard that name coming out of the lips of people that are reminiscent of the person with last year. I remembered things based off my perpetrators. Some of them no longer here, like my grandparents, some, and then others still around. And some of them didn't have to touch me. Some of them just had to say things, twist things, point fingers, all the deals to just make me believe that I was the devil. I no longer accept that nickname. If I wasn't the age that I am and have gone through all the, banking and this bill and divorce and I wouldn't go by the name I have either. I would change that, but I can't because it's too much effort. And I do not want to go through that effort because of the name that I was given. So I can change my preferred name. So Jay, thank you for that one thing. But yeah, it's your fault. And regardless of what others may think and say, I'm Zana. I'll talk to you later.